Howdy, folks. Greyhawk 4x4 coming at you again, your resident vintage gamer, and it is that time of the week again. It is time for our Dolmenwood campaign update for our weekly D&D session that we have back here. As a reminder, we use the Old School Essentials rule set for this, and supporting rules from the Nerovia content that is provided by Edward Green. So, if you are not already caught up, there is a whole playlist for this. This is episode 15. So if you need to go get yourself caught up, feel free to go do that and then come back and start up with us again. So, where we left off, our adventurers were in the woods on their way to return. Well, I shouldn't say return because we don't have the person with us, but we are going to go find the parents of a child that we rescued out adventuring. And in the previous episode, in the previous session, we had talked about taking the child with us to return them, but there was no guarantee, number one, that we were going to find the parents, and also no guarantee that the child would make it there safely, because this is a dangerous place, this whole Dolmenwood area. So, given that, my character suggested, well, what if we leave the child safely in the city while we go and notify the parents? Find them, first of all, find them if we can, and second of all, let them know, okay, we found your child, this is where they are, do you want to go back with us to recover the child? Which was, the kid's name was Hodgehedge, I believe, and or do you want to commission us to go and escort the child back up here, but we cannot guarantee that child's safety if we do that. So that needs to take place once we find them. So where we left off, we were in the woods. We were also had some side quests that we were working on, and we had come upon what looked like some type of ritual area where there were these there's these goat men that are like bipedal humanoid goat people that inhabit the Dolmenwood. There's different tribes of them. And we found these severed heads on pikes of these goat people in this ritual area that also had what is described as a basalt pillar, that something was being done there. So as the investigator, the class that I'm playing, I'm actually playing an Inquisitor, which is a subclass of investigator, which I would compare to something like an exorcist. You know, somebody who goes out on, behalf of the divine to find evil and rid evil from the land or whatever. But as the investigator, I decided I'm going to start looking at these severed heads and look for evidence of how they were removed, how they were relieved of their bodies. Meaning, are the cuts, are they clean cuts? Are they jagged? Do they look like they were literally ripped off their bodies? Is there any residue on them? Maybe from maybe there's rust from like rusty blades. Maybe there's poison, whatever. And it is described to me by the dungeon master that none of the heads are uniform in how they were removed. Some have a clean cut, some have a jagged cut, some look like they literally might have been ripped off, so there's no uniformity there. So that leads me to believe, well, that doesn't sound like it was part of the ritual, because if it was ritualistic, you would think that the manner in which it was done, the procedure, would be uniform. They would use a sacrificial blade so that they were all done the same, but that wasn't the case here. So that's one clue that we have that, okay, this maybe is not ritualistic. But while this is all going on, we had to make some saving throws, and our magic user character failed his saving throw. And what happened was, by failing, his eyes became frozen over with ice. And there was pain and agony and the whole bit. And we decide that, we're going to try to get him I think my character, I took a torch out and lit a torch and got it, close enough to the wizard's face to where some ambient heat might help melt the ice. But it didn't do any good. It was magical. So we had to remove him from the area. So we do, and we figure out at some point we get to a place where we can camp, and eventually the condition goes away or whatever. But we also discover that we realize that we're lost. We are not where we thought we were on the map. We weren't even going in the right direction, possibly. So while camping and doing all this, a random encounter occurs. And we are attacked by a group of Minotaurs. And here's a little Minotaur Mini. I don't have this guy painted, but we use these. I only have a couple of these, but see if I can. Yeah, this camera sucks. I'm not happy with Logitech on their camera's ability to focus on anything. So anyway, you can't see any detail, unfortunately, but it's there. And then here's another one, a Terrible Bones miniature that has absolutely no balance to it whatsoever. It falls over the minute you set it down, so I've got to put a base on that one. But anyway, so we have a Minotaur battle, and it was something like 8 of them. So we were at a river's edge when it happened. And so I happen to have these things. These are game aids from a company called Arknight, ARCKNIGHT, Arknight. And this was a Kickstarter. I did not. This whole set was given to me as a gift from somebody we used to play Pathfinder with. I'm trying to get it without the glare on it. There was no bridge in our encounter, but this is the only one I had, and so we just used this for spacing wise. We used this, which actually worked out perfectly. So if you're interested, and then they're all double-sided. So then there's a stone bridge on the back. So I have a whole bunch of these. There's just plain grass on this one, like for a field. And then this is supposed to be trees, top down with trees. There's a whole shit ton of them in the set. So it might be something you want to look up if you're interested in it. They come in real handy situationally. So the battle is on, and the battle we were down a player. We had a player who was out ill. So there was only 3 of us at the table trying to play multiple characters. And the DM even had to play a couple characters, I think. So the combat took quite a while. It basically was the entire evening, because in the water, everything is slowed. So them trying to get to us and us trying to be strategic in how we take them on, because like my character doesn't have a ranged weapon. So, and I don't think the fighter does either. And so the bottom line is we have this long drawn out combat that takes quite a bit of time. But luckily this character I'm playing has some healing. So I was able to retreat. I got hit pretty bad. I was ganged up on pretty good. And I was down to like 3 hit points. I had to back off and retreat back to where the magic user was. There was also the friar, who also is a healer. Between my healing and the friar, I was able to get back up to full and then join the fight again. The Moss Dwarf, played by Stesha, I think it's, I always forget, Smodry is the name of the Moss Dwarf. Smodry was kicking ass. Smodry, the Moss Dwarf, she was rolling fantastic, and I think she took out the majority of them. The fighter was doing a good job as well, played by Brad. And then I was able to contribute as well. But it took a long time because we had two of these knuckleheads that, I'll get this back out here. So when the battle happened, most of them were over here with us. They crossed over, or over here somewhere. Yeah, like over here, let's say. They crossed over with us over here, but there was two of them that stayed back over here, like this area here, across. So they were throwing stones at us, rocks, boulders, whatever. So we were getting pelted, as well as trying to fight some of these. And at one point, one of the Minotaurs was trying to literally grab, I think it was the Moss Dwarf. I want to say it was the Moss Dwarf, and carry her character, carry the Moss Dwarf back across the world, like basically trying to steal her, and abscond with her. And at some point, I think the fighter might have even got grabbed at one point too, because they at one point in the fight, they decided to change tactics from trying to kill us to trying to grab at least one of us and like take them off for food or whatever. And then there was some morale checks because we dwindled their numbers. They kept making their morale checks, and it was a hell of a fight. But we ended up winning in the end, and that was pretty much the whole session. I mean, we had to deal with the situation with the wizard that got his eyes frozen. The investigation of that, whatever the hell that glade was. Let's see here. Oh, and when we were in that glade, which was weird, where all the heads were and everything, it was warmer there than other parts, like where we were traveling through. Once we got there, it was warmer, but the wizard had the ice thing happen on the eyes, which is contradictory, but that's what happened. So we've now discovered, okay, we're lost, first of all, and going the wrong direction. We've got to correct that. We've taken care of these Minotaurs after that hellacious battle. And now, of course, we're going to have to heal up and rest and everything. And then get back on track. So the next session that's what that will be. It will be us trying to get back in the right direction, and hope that random encounters do not hold us up too much of trying to get to the town we need to get to take care of this situation with the kid. In addition, we have the fallen star that people have told us about that needs to be investigated. Basically, like a meteor, comet, whatever. We also, it's in the same general direction. We want to investigate that and continue foraging for components that the alchemist wanted. Those are the main quests in this area that we're trying to accomplish. So yeah, it was just one big ass Minotaur battle. I do, if you don't already follow me on Twitter, I generally try to tweet out on Fridays when we're doing this stuff. I'll usually tweet out the battlefield, how it's all laid out and all that stuff. So if you don't already follow me on other social media, you can find Greyhawk 4x4 is the handle for all my everything. You can just Google Greyhawk 4x4 and all my social media stuff will come up. Everything. Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Snapchat, Steam, whatever, and all the shit that I'm forgetting. So, anyway, that'll do it for this update, guys. The bottom line is it was a fun session. That was one hell of a fun combat we did. So, until next time, guys, we will catch you on the flip side.